Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never had before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam. All right. Here we go. How's your week going?
Good.
Good.
It's a good week.
It's always
really
good.
week.
Yeah.
Hitting the gym hard. I'm back on my pre-workout, so I feel a lot better. Just recovery is a lot better, so it's going really good.
That's been my biggest struggle. My gym has been I've been very consistent lately. Last about a month, 3 times a week, same days, same routine, like kind of getting back to better groove, feeling better. Like I'm noticing differences in things. But I tell you what, I have to work out leg day on Sunday because I'm not able to walk functionally again until Thursday. And if I got a softball tournament on that Saturday, like there's no pushing it and hoping that I'm good to go. Like I'm doing the whole looking like you've been pooping walk. Like
oh yeah. Funny enough, there was not legs, but there was a guy doing triceps, and he was going hard at it. And looking at his arms, he didn't have no triceps, and I was like, oh, that dude is going to have a hard time wiping his butt tomorrow.
Dude,
like you
what.
Going hard on something and you ain't got them, like you're going to be hurting.
And I got legs. It's just one part of my leg. It's this right in here, inner thigh area. Specifically on the days that I do
them.
I did those one day,
yeah.
But then when I do squats, I feel it even more. Like when I get down and do squats, boy, I tell you what, it is just brutal. But like you said, like it's good to it feels good being in the rhythm, kind of getting used to my routine. Like I already told her, I've been going every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. I go early to the office. I do my workout in the office.
Okay.
Eat my breakfast into the office space. Friday mornings I play basketball, and then we all know I have my crazy softball schedule and all that activity too. And so, but we have the cruise coming up. We leave not this Friday, but next Friday. We drive down to Galveston. We get on the cruise ship Saturday morning. So, by the way, just a reminder, 2 weeks, we're not recording.
Okay.
I
have to put a reminder. Go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, but I told her, I was like, I got to find ways to work out on the boat. I don't want to break my streaks. So now, before I can do my all-day day drinking, I got to get up at like 7 so that I can go to the gym on the ship and work out. But then I'm going to drink all day and party and totally calorie count away. But hey, it's okay.
Exactly. Like, I mean...
The muscles are getting their gain.
Yeah, just go in there and just, like, get a little bit in. That way you just kind of get it in there.
I just want to keep my body on the thought process of it. Like, of what, hey, this is your routine. Let's not break our routine. So, but that said, we've got, where do we want to kick this bad boy off at today?
Honestly, you know... It's next week, so I think we should just go ahead and start with football.
All right.
With the combine happening next week.
Okay.
But one of the things that I wanted to talk about before we got into that was I wanted to talk a little bit about the Cowboys and what's going on with a lot of people are wanting who they're wanting in free agency, and it got me looking up some information, and it helped me kind of understand a little bit more on what I think is better than what people are wanting. So, running back is the biggest situation that everyone is wanting for the Cowboys. Like, Pollard did not do well. When we got rid of Zeke, we just lost something. So, everyone is wanting Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, mainly Derrick Henry. Okay. The problem with that is you're going to have to pay a premium price for a running back like that. In today's market, with a player like him, you're likely having to pay somewhere between 10 to 13 million.
And Derrick Henry's not going to want a one-year deal.
No.
Derrick Henry's going to tell you he won't sign for less than 2 years
because
he knows he's almost done.
Yeah. And see, the problem with that is, like, there are some other guys that in free agency I feel like would be better and cheaper. Like, they're not going to be better as a runner. Like, they're not going to be
Derrick Henry, but they're going to be options.
The option that you can use for what you need it for is going to suit the offense better than having Derrick Henry. Because the reason why I say this is the last time I wanted to look up to figure out, because you always hear people say, don't pay your running back that second contract. Right? You heard them like, that's what happened with Zeke. They paid him.
Big one,
and it not
McCaffrey
because he didn't contribute. It's just you don't want to do that to your team because that takes away from paying these other guys.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and the last time a team won the Super Bowl with a premium paid running back was the Seattle Seahawks in 2014. And that's because they had the Legion of Boom defense.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson on a rookie contract.
On a rookie contract. Now, what are we classifying a premium?
Top 5 paid.
Top 5 paid running back. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So it's got to be in that value of premium paid. Like
Okay,
you're,
that's what I was
you're
wondering.
top of the
Where
market.
are we?
Yeah. So he was number 5, but number 3, 4, and 5 were separate by $500,000. So
Yeah.
it's not. And then number 6, I think, was his was $8 million for that year, and I think number 6 was $6 million.
Which
So it dropped $2 million.
$8 million in 2014 is probably 13 now. Because of
I
escalating
would say
salary
14 or
cap,
15.
13 yeah, like it would be 13 to 15.
So yeah, so that's what you're looking at, and a lot of that was because they had built up this great defense and a rookie contract quarterback.
Yeah.
So you were able to have that on there.
Giants are not
And then
sure.
once they
Or,
had to pay
Bears.
Russell Wilson, what happened? They got rid of Marshawn Lynch because his contract was too much. And they were like, you know what? We can't resign you, man. Sorry.
Yeah, and that dude.
So they had to get rid of him.
Then he went to the Raiders.
The last time that a team had a premium paid running back, not the Seattle Seahawks, was the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
Was it? The 49ers are close. They've
No,
had Christian
yeah,
McCaffrey there.
Yeah,
but-
and that would have been like
Even though
the
he makes-
Seahawks because of Brock Purdy getting paid pennies.
yeah.
So that's why they're able to have this team. That team that they have is because Brock Purdy is so cheap.
You can
because
still pay
once
all
he gets
the
paid,
positions around him.
a lot of those guys are gone. Like you have to get rid of them once you pay him.
Yeah.
So that's why they're able to build that way. So the Cowboys can't build that way because Dak is no longer on that rookie contract. He's already got one.
He's
And
actually
he's about to get
his
another
next
one.
contract.
So yeah. So and then on top of that,
with an expanding salary cap of like $22 million this year.
I read it's only going up 8.
Was it 8? I thought I saw it was going up from 224 to 250 almost.
Yeah, no, it's only going to go up $8 million.
Okay. Well,
So
that'll help. That changes
on top of looking at like we're going all in this year. So yeah, we got to get Derrick Henry. Look, next year you have to give a contract to CeeDee Lamb. You have to give a contract to Micah Parsons. Your expiring contract of Zach Martin, and your expiring contract of Tank Lawrence. Now, Tank Lawrence, when you look at his stats and you see that he doesn't have a lot of sacks, you just automatically assume that he's not that good. But he provides so much for that defense. He is
does, but I don't know that he's going to want to stay in Dallas.
He may not.
Not after the comments that Michael Parsons made that
Well,
kind of
yeah.
directly
Yeah.
were shots at
Yeah.
him. I don't know that he's going to want to be that young man's teammate
Maybe,
anymore.
But so you have an issue of looking at the future and going, we can't turn into the Saints where we're constantly having to push back and push back and push back, and now we're $83 million over the cap.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, let's push back a little bit more. We're going to have to cut this guy because we can't really afford anything.
Yeah, they're saying it's going to go up from 224 million to up north of 240 this offseason.
Okay. I thought our rate was only going up 8, but all right. So, with that being said, in my opinion, I would not go with Derrick Henry just because it is legitimate a reason. Like, you can look at Super Bowl winners, and the only ones since 2000 is the Seattle Seahawks, and that was because they had a rookie quarterback or a rookie contract quarterback, and so that was the only time. So when you're the Cowboys and you have to look at some of this stuff, like you have, unless you're just trying to go like the Rams did a few years ago, where you're just, you know what, let's just go all in. Like if you're trying to go all in 1 year, okay, like okay, that's what you want to do. But if you want to keep your franchise going, like you're not going to want to do something like that because that's just going to mess everything up. So in my opinion, guys like Donta Foreman, who's a free agent from the Bears, who, you know, Derrick Henry, when he went down, looked really good.
And Donta Foreman looked really good this season when the Bears gave him playing time. He's that guy he gets put in the lineup and you're like, hey, he's starting this week. DraftKings, he's the stash guy.
Yeah.
He's going to start for the Bears. You pick him because it seems like he goes for 110 yards and a touchdown. Just like Herbert was his first 2 years. Like,
And then you have, for smaller guys, Zach Moss is a free agent.
and Zach Moss looked very good
And he
this
looked
season. for the
very
most part.
good. No injuries like Pollard. Like, I wouldn't mind having Pollard back if Pollard wanted to come back for like $4 million. Like,
Yeah,
it's got to be a small contract. He is not a bell cow, and he's just a change of pace, and he's not even a top tier change of pace. So I have to have him for at least 4. I would rather have Zach Moss for like 3 because there's no injury history. So
No, he just sucked when he was a Bill.
yeah, he just had to go to a team that actually had a good offensive line that could block, run block,
He would go behind one of those here.
and
Well, a good offensive line.
somewhat.
Questionable run blocking.
And so, like, I do feel like the Derrick Henry and the Saquon thing is just something that the Cowboys are not going to do, despite what a lot of fans really want them to do. It just doesn't make sense in that. So that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about first, just because it's a Cowboys situation, and I know a lot of Cowboys want Derrick Henry, but unless he's coming here for like $8 million, I don't want him.
Yeah,
and he's not going to come for. Well, actually, let me say that. He's getting paid $8 million a year technically with his contract, but if it's a 1-year deal, I'll do it for $8 million. But if it's a 2 to 3 year deal, like I want it for like 6.5. Like I don't want to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like not because of past injuries, but I just don't want to give up that much money at that position where you don't need to pay a premium guy.
Especially when you're about to
because-
pay so many other guys.
Yeah, because every Super Bowl winner has proven you don't need a top tier running back at a premium high paid position or price to win the Super Bowl. Like all you need is a good quarterback and a really good defense, and you can win.
Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th round draft pick.
Yep.
And he's won 2 Super Bowls in 2 years.
Yep.
And it looked really good in both of them.
And every Patriots team has not had a top tier running back, and like they've been replaced after 2 years.
They rolled out. I think the biggest named running back that was ever there was Corey Dillon. The rest of the time
Yeah.
it was Kevin Falk. It was James White. It was LeGarrette
Maroney.
Blount.
Lawrence Maroney. That's what it is.
Okay.
He had a one like really pretty good year.
I just
and
look
then,
at Corey Dillon was like a name.
Yeah,
Because he
and
was
that was
already
at the end of his
established.
career,
Yeah,
too.
he was done by the time he was a Patriot. Like he was a Bengal for the good years
about 10 years, I think. And then he went there for his last 2.
to push
or
to
something
try to
like that.
win games.
But yeah, so that was, if you're listening to this and you're a Cowboys fan and one of your dreams is to have Derrick Henry, I'm just telling you, if you want your team to win the Super Bowl, it's not smart to do that. It's smart to invest in the offensive line and the defense.
I was gonna say,
And that's it.
I think the
And a good
Philadelphia
quarterback.
Eagles have proven the motto
Exactly.
of team
That's
building.
the team building exercise.
They're the back end of the season aside, like they struggled at the end of the year, all that aside. The Eagles are consistently going to be good because they can protect their quarterback, they can hit the other team's quarterback, and you can do those 2 things. Everything else can just kind of happen.
Yep.
I mean, it really just does. Like, we've watched the Chiefs since the Super Bowl that Brady ran him and beat them, and he had to run for, 500 yards that he was running just to not get sacked.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs every year have been like, oh, we're getting the biggest name guy on the market to come play offensive tackle for us. And we're all like, where are they getting this money? And they're like, who cares? We keep winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
You've got Patrick Mahomes.
now it's going to hit him soon. Because
And-
they're going to have to pay McDuffie and all those guys soon. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
I did see a great name for
But,
him in the trade link.
I mean, they did it before where they revamped their defense. They they got rid of D Ford, Justin Houston, and everyone was all like, those are your 2 leading sack guys. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And then they revamped it to have another good defense. Like,
They'll still have to pay Chris Jones because they'll have to get that in line.
mm-hmm.
But I did see, I saw the
They can't tag him though.
No, because his tag number is like insane.
28 million.
Yeah, no, you can't tag him. But
the regular is 22. His would be 28.
You know how the big problem we all said all year about the Chiefs though is how they had no weapons. Like that was always the complaint. I saw a great name to a team that needs to open up a receiving position on their team, and that was the Seahawks moving Lockett it was like 5.5 is what he's owed. So it's not a big cap hit. Kansas City gets Lockett to go across from Rice because he gives you basically everything you're getting out of MVS and all those guys. It's still at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Still a healthy guy. It's not like he's been an injury-prone guy. And that opens up JSN in Seattle.
The only thing, though, is Seattle has changed their offense. So, more than new head coach, new coaching staff. More than likely, they're going to do a lot more 3 receiver sets than what Pete Carroll did.
Probably. I mean, I see what you're saying there, but I don't know. I think
JSN is in the NFL, he's a slot guy. He's not your X or Z. He's your slot.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, that would be the smart thing to do is to make sure you run 3. So, getting rid of Lockett, man.
Only if it was because of an age to number side, though, the money. If you're doing it for the money side of things, that is a name though that could end up it would be very Brandon Cooks to Dallas for me. That move would be. It would be because I feel like Rice would probably still be the number 1 guy after how he finished out the season. But I think Lockett opens over the top. I think Lockett gives you a true option across from him where you can take some pressure off Kelsey and Rice. I mean, I think that a guy like that gives you, it's like I said, I think Brandon Cooks is the best equivalent.
Speaking of, there's a guy in this draft that I heard someone say reminds them of him.
Tyler Lockett?
Of Tyler Lockett, and it is. I got a lot of information written down here, so it was it Taj Washington, Tyler Lockett? Okay, maybe it wasn't Tyler Lockett. It was Emmanuel Sanders. That's who it was. So Emmanuel Sanders, Denver Broncos, Steelers, slot receiver guy.
Yeah.
That also could go out and play that Z kind of the way that Lockett does. And that's Ladd McConkey. And then, no. It was Roman Wilson. So, Michigan's Roman Wilson. My first mock draft, I had him in the first round.
He did.
I have since moved him down.
Wasn't he the one that looked really good at Senior Bowl?
Yes.
So he looked really good at Senior Bowl.
So, he's a very Tyler Lockett-like player, and he's also rumored to run in the 4.3s. So, if that is true, he's a faster Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, because Lockett was.
And that is the guy. So it was funny you talk about that. That is the guy that I could see the Seahawks going, we'll trade Lockett and we'll draft this guy.
And then
now we've got
then you get to save the money. You've got 2 rookie deal receivers to go with DK.
Yeah.
You still have a 3rd-year running back, so you'll have 2 years left on Kenneth Walker's deal, 3 years left on Charbonnet's deal. You really just need to get rid of sorry-ass Geno Smith, and you might win some football games.
and then here's one of the things that I thought was really cool today. I did not realize that people in the NFL are a lot higher on 2 quarterbacks that I thought were going to go in the 3rd, 4th round. They're probably going to go in the 2nd. And 1 quarterback that I knew was not going to go in the 1st. So a lot of people have there. I'll give you a hint. He plays in Washington. So Michael Penix. So Michael Penix, a lot of people in the NFL, a lot of amateurs, they've been putting him in the 1st round, especially the top 15. And I'm like, guys, he is not that good.
No.
Y'all got to stop this.
It'll fall
he's
off
just
after the
college
combine.
stats. Stop. And so I was listening to a podcast of some people that I love listening to because they give great information. Spencer Rattler.
Hey, he had good times in South Carolina.
Yes, but a lot of people in the NFL, they have talked to, have said they love what he has done from basically getting benched, persevering through that, going to USC, or going to the other USC.
Yeah.
And
South Carolina.
And proving himself there, and then doing a decent job at the Senior Bowl too. So there are a lot. He's got some fans, and from what I'm hearing, he's probably going to be the quarterback that goes after Nix, and JJ McCarthy is going to go before him. So basically, you got your top 3: McCarthy, Nix at 5, and then Spencer Rattler is likely your quarterback 6.
Spencer Rattler was 2 years ago was the guy that was getting projected to be the number 1 pick in
Number
last
one
year's
pick.
draft.
Yeah.
Like that was how much love he was getting last year. And honestly, I think the thing that really screwed him in Oklahoma was that he was so busy looking over his shoulder. Because as soon as that first year was great, it was like as soon as Caleb Williams showed up,
it was the Caleb Williams show.
Lane Kiffin. Lincoln Riley was instantly like, Caleb's gonna be special. Caleb's gonna be special. He's working packages for Caleb, and it was like, yeah, but Rattler's already doing something special for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the whole. But I think Lincoln was so worried about losing him because we've started to see the transfer portals kind of starting to develop more at that point, that he was like, I don't want to lose Caleb Williams, so he's gonna keep him and do whatever he had to. And you saw their relationship was close because he moved to USC and Caleb jumped ship with him. And I never saw anything. I think Rattler was a little goofy looking. Like he's a goofy looking guy. You never saw anything when he was playing for Oklahoma that didn't scream, this guy's not a bad football player.
Oh.
Like he just tough situation. Like
he just happened to be behind or he just happened to be playing with someone that was better than him.
Yeah.
Like it just sucks that it happened to be that way, but it happened to be that
they
way.
brought in someone that was better than him, and rather than, doing what some people
and he was
Texas
struggling.
is doing.
And to be fair, he was struggling in the game that he got benched for against Texas,
and
Caleb came in and ended up winning it.
Yeah, I just think that's where the struggle is.
Yeah.
Is that
just looking over
at
his shoulder type
18,
thing.
19 years old, I don't think that he was mentally strong enough to understand that as long as I play good, this is still my job. I think he was a kid and he saw this and he was like, I've always been the guy. I should have been the guy. I did enough to be the guy. Why am I having to fight this guy?
Yeah.
He didn't factor in. Bubba, you went to a premium university with a quarterback guru of a coach. Your junior year, you could have probably still been the starter, and they were probably going to bring in another 5-star after Caleb.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know that he was, at that age, was mentally ready for it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be against him being successful. Like, he looked all right at times.
The other quarterback this is the one that shocked me more than that one. Jordan Travis, Florida State.
I never even thought he was all that good.
I
they
didn't
won
either,
football games, but like
they were talking about this dude, and I didn't write enough information on it. But basically, he's probably going to go late second.
He can't
like
even
Rattler
exercise.
is mid second. He's probably going to go late second, and Penix is probably going to go around 3 to 4. Like a lot of, from what I'm starting to hear is. Like, I assume that he was going to go somewhere in the second round.
There should be a lot of quarterbacks drafted in general this draft.
Yeah.
Because I think last year was only like 7 quarterbacks
that
drafted.
and next year's class just isn't that good. So, a lot of people are, like, making sure that they get one
There's
on their
only
roster.
2 names on next year's draft board that
3.
really gets talked. 2 or 3. Who's
3.
the third? Oh, Beck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I was like, Ewers and Shadur are the 2
Shadur.
that come to brain. So then,
So that's the one that shocked me. But what they were talking about with Penix and the reason why, and actually, I want to get a little bit more on what they talked about with J.J. McCarthy and the reason why his stats are so low.
Because of the offensive system.
Not only that, but it's because they were getting up on teams early that he didn't have to pass no more. It was kind of a situation with Dak early in his career whenever they would get up and just run the ball, like run the timeout.
And there was a week at one point, I think, this season where they got up in the first quarter, like 24-0, and he threw 4 pass attempts the whole game.
So
what
the
do you do?
and it sucks because they were good enough to where they were beating people so bad that when evaluators are trying to look, they're going, there's just not a lot of those big-time NFL throws that you get to evaluate.
Yeah.
There's only a couple, but the couple are really good. It's just other quarterbacks, you get this bigger pie, and his is just like that little personal piece.
And even taking away the fact that they're always in the lead, like Harbaugh, even back when he was in the NFL, is a very run-focused guy.
Yeah.
And so Harbaugh is one of those guys that you look at and he's like, there's not a third down I haven't met that I can't run for a first down. And like, as a fan, you look at it and you're like, why are we running a draw on 3rd and 5? Well, then you realize that you had Blake Corum and he could get 6 yards every single time.
Exactly.
And so it was like, why risk
You don't need to.
Corum and the other guy that were there. I think they only fumbled the ball at Michigan like 4 times all season.
Mm-hmm.
So if you knew they weren't going to drop it and you knew you were going to get positive yards, why even make him make a throw that could be potentially risked?
Yep.
You've got safe ball carriers. Get them.
So that's a lot was what's happening, and a lot of people are looking at his stats and going, "You can't take this guy in the top 10 or 15 with stats like that." And I'm like, "You can, because he didn't have to do things that Penix had to do and Nix had to do. Like he didn't have to.
Great.
The team was just so good,
Yeah,
and the defense was so good that it was keeping the other team down that they just ran the timeout.
and the Big Ten has good defenses most of the time, but football-wise, I can make a state argument that the Big Ten really wasn't that great the last season. At Ohio State, and that's really it. Like, nobody else in the conference you look at and you're just like, it's not like when you look, like, even if you look at Texas and you're like, Texas had to play Oklahoma, they had to play so-and-so,
They had
like,
to play Alabama.
yeah, like, if you look at, you know, any SEC school just looking in their conference
Yeah.
every week is a gauntlet game. Hell, the Pac-12, before it dissolved this year, every week we were talking about, hey, don't sleep on so-and-so,
Yeah,
Arizona, and all this. You never really had, I'm just trying to think, like, Nebraska had some moments where we thought they might be okay. This year's the more expected year since Rule took over. Wisconsin was hit or miss this year. You just didn't have anything that really said, go be a big-time player for us until you got to the college playoff, and then really, it wasn't hard. Like, they didn't really make the playoff games look challenging.
So, and that brings me back to Penix. So, this is a comp that I had already made, and it got confirmed for me whenever they made the same exact comp. He's Jared Goff, but he's more statuesque, and he has a worse touch on the football. That's what Michael Penix is. And what I mean by Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when he has no pressure. And he's on a team that has a great offensive line that keeps pressure off of him. So he's been looking really good since he's been with Detroit. His last 2 years with the Rams were awful because
Andrew Whitworth.
Whitworth,
41 years
retired.
old, playing left tackle.
And so at that point, they had no one else because they were trying to invest in all these other playmakers on defense, and they just left the offensive line to like, we could just pick this guy up and it'd be all right. So Goff was god-awful when he didn't have protection. Penix is the same person, except he can't move. Like, he is a statue. So when he didn't have pressure,
he's left-handed.
And someone compared him to Tim Tebow, and it made zero sense because Tebow could run. And Penix is complete opposite of that. It's like giving a comp of someone that you have never watched. You're like, oh, he's a black quarterback? Oh, he can probably run then.
Man.
Like, you know what? Tim Tebow, because he's left-handed too.
I think the reason I hate Taysom Hill so much is that I wish Tim Tebow would have gotten to beat Taysom Hill first.
Well, he got too big in his head.
Yeah, he just really wanted to show he could be an NFL quarterback.
But so this is what Penix did with no pressure. Now, mind you, his offensive line was in the top 5. I think they were 4th in the 4th best offensive line.
When we got to that
in
point
football.
in the season, they discussed the fact that the two quarterbacks never got touched.
Yeah, Penix and Nix.
Yeah.
And so without pressure, his touchdown to interception ratio was 30-7. Really good. With pressure, 6-5. Now, there was more information that they gave, and they were going so fast I couldn't keep up, so I didn't write it all down. But it was basically went Penix with pressure, or Penix with no pressure, Penix with pressure, Penix with no pressure, Penix with pressure, Penix with no pressure, Penix. So it was like complete polar opposites, guys.
Very good offense. So if he goes,
if you haven't invested in your line, you messed up drafting this dude because he is going to be god awful
for your football team. Yeah.
So if you're the Seahawks in the 3rd round and he's there, I would say go for it because you've invested in your tackles. You need 2 guards that are both free agents, but you're probably going to bring one back and you'll probably sign someone else. And then you need a center, and you could draft that in the draft with Jackson Powers Johnson. So you got your offensive line back, and then you can draft Penix in like round 3 or 4 and take over for Geno, and you have a quarterback and you have an offensive line. Now he's not bad. It's just he has to have protection.
And you got to have a quick and NFL pass rushers are better
Yes.
than college ones, so quick quick reads.
And he's just like, and it was, and the other thing is that I read that they think that he is actually maxed out as a player. Like he's not going to get any better. He is who he is. So when
He's
he
26, right? 25.
Yeah.
He's an older guy.
I think he's actually no. I thought we talked about that. I think he's only 24.
That's
Him
weird.
and Nix, because Nix was only 23. So I think he was 24. Oh no, that was Jaden.
You're saying
That was
Jaden
Jaden
Daniels was the one
that I
that
thought
was
was
younger.
older.
We didn't ever look up
Yeah.
Michael Penix.
So Penix is older, but they believe that he is basically maxed out, and that's going to also hurt his draft position because
Yeah,
you
he's
want to draft someone
23.
that's
He'll turn 24 before this season starts.
okay. So you want a guy that's going to give you a little bit. So like Hendon Hooker went in the 3rd round, coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah.
So I'm probably looking at 3rd round with
That was a
Penix.
terrible pick.
It made no
Lions.
sense. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, especially as good as their draft went. You imagine they could have hit on a starter in the 3rd round. Like that's a spot where you can get a starter. Like, good lord, they could have done even better. Like,
Yeah.
So I guess you had a luxury that you did so well, but oh no, that'll be fun. Yeah, because we get the T-shirt Olympics are next week, starting leap year 29th, right?
27th.
27th. Okay, I just know they start next week.
Yeah.
So-
20. I think it's 26th. I think it starts Monday.
Does it start Monday? Okay, I didn't know if it was. I should know this. I have a hotel in that market. But no, it'll be. It's always fun. I love watching 40-yard dashes. I love watching.
26th. Yeah.
Yeah, I love watching the 40s. I love watching all the different things. It makes me kind of wish that some of the elements of the combine. I mean, hold on. You know what? Before I bring that up, because that's a really good transition that just came to my brain here. I'm gonna save that for when we're done with football. So you keep going with any more you have, unless you're done.
Okay.
Because I have a combine transition into basketball that I'm gonna use. It's gonna be
Okay. All right. So one of I think the hardest people in this draft that's going to be to put somewhere is Brock Bowers because
He looks
he's a
little.
tight end. He is. He's
He
only
looks-
like 230 pounds.
He looks massive at Georgia, but when they showed him standing next to Gronk,
Yeah.
he looks small, and Gronk's lost
he's
weight.
not very
like,
good. Yeah. he's not very. I've got him down at 6'4", 230. Yeah,
Which
he's
just-
not a big guy.
I mean,
He's a
that's
small
that's
tight
a
end.
big guy. That's
Yeah.
just not a big tight end.
Yeah.
6'4" is huge. Like,
But
don't get me wrong.
and he is going to be used as more the way Gesicki could have been used if he was better.
Yeah, Gesicki couldn't block a
Yeah.
3rd grader.
So
Like
like
that's the only
he's
reason
going to be. He's not going to be. Well, he's not going to block either.
Mike Gesicki
Like-
had the best hands on the Dolphins at one point, though.
Yeah.
Like he has sick hands, but he
Like, he's
blocks
just-
grade schoolers.
Brock Bowers is going to be the same way, but because he's a receiving tight end, that's what he is. Like he's going to be someone that kind of works in the slot in a way. So it's going to be tough to place him just because because basically your first 3 picks are teams that need a quarterback or a receiver,
I keep seeing him going to the Chargers.
or basically your four teams are quarterback and receiver, and that's it.
Yeah.
So now you get to the Chargers. Chargers, what do they need? Like they need defense. They're a likely trade down team, and and more than likely they're going to trade down and end up getting someone on defense.
And
I don't think that
the
they're going to
question is though, is that are they outside of the spots? Like I'm sure there's going to be a player people want at 5, but if we hypothetically we say it's Caleb Williams, MHJ, it's Drake May, and then it's Daniels. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've kind of assumed it in whatever order rotation. Gotta hope Daniels isn't a Patriot, but that kind of rotation there. The 5th pick. Is there a guy there that people are just going to want to
Neighbors.
jump up for?
Malik
Neighbors. You think that's going to be worth it? Okay.
Everything that I've heard, because
Shit.
everyone
You're the
has
Bears.
basically put MHJ on this pedestal of he's the best receiver, which he is. But everything that I have heard is that it's MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much separating these guys. Like,
Well,
but
it's
the
the
MHJ
6'4"
and Neighbors are, from what I've heard, are neck and neck, and there's a
It's-
chance that
it's
some
not
people
right.
think Neighbors is actually better. So,
The thing that really goes for Jackson or MHJ is that's what I thought. MHJ is 6'4",
6'3".
Malik Neighbors is 6 foot. Like that, in the eyes of the behold, that matters a ton.
It does.
And
It
so, especially
And,
on measurables.
He's 6'3", 205. Neighbors is 6 foot 195, and Adunze is 6'2", 217.
Yeah.
So Adunze is got that figure that's more of a Julio Jones type figure.
Okay.
Not player. I ain't comparing him to that. I'm just saying his figure is that build and everything is that same kind of stature. But yeah, I think someone would trade up for Neighbors. I think someone would trade up for Joe Alt.
The offensive lineman.
Yeah, so those two guys are two guys that I would believe someone would trade up for.
Okay.
Or even trading up for Bowers. Like,
There's that would be it. We watched them trade up for the Bills traded up to get no, they didn't trade up.
Kincaid. Yeah.
Kincaid, yeah, they did. They moved up to
they
get
traded
Kincaid.
over above the Cowboys because they thought the Cowboys wanted to take him.
Yeah.
He was never on the Cowboys board.
But hey, you never know. But no, so yeah, you can see that.
Yeah. And then of course Kyle Pitts was taken 2 or 3 a few years ago. Was it 5?
It was 5.
It was 5. Okay. Yeah, right where Bowers is.
Right around about.
So, I mean, there's the possibility of him going, of the Chargers going, you know what? No, there's this generational tight end that we have to get.
On the topic of Kyle Pitts, they've whispered him as a piece that could be a part of trade offers.
Okay, I can
Fourth.
kind of see it.
He went 4th.
4th. Okay.
Yeah, but whoever trades for him, if you don't give up enough, you're getting a guy that is good as his pick. The offense is shit.
Yeah,
He's
but he's
open.
also been dealing with injuries.
Well, true, but I swear to God, every time the Falcons are on red zone, Kyle Pitts is doing jumping jacks,
Yeah.
and they won't throw him the ball.
But yeah, so like Broughton Bowers, it's really weird. I did an exercise. If the Chargers didn't take him, where would he go? And I ended up having him fall all the way down to Seattle at 16.
Which would be, I know, new team leadership. I was going to say, if it was still the Pete Carroll system, they love just adding 7th round Will Disleys and just throwing them out there.
And see, with Jameis in there, I didn't think that it was the right situation because they wouldn't run 3 with that tight end, but they could.
Oh.
So, but you get past the Chargers, you got the Giants. They just traded for Waller, so they're not going to be in the market for another high dollar tight end.
Yeah, especially with all the injuries you're going to deal with Waller.
The Titans could use him, but they need offensive line so bad that they would pass on it. Then you go.
They might trade up for Alt.
Yeah, that's exactly who I have them with. The Falcons. Falcons have a tight end.
The Falcons have a tight end.
Could be
If they
off
keep
the
him,
market. And that could also keep them from going, oh, we're not taking another tight end that high.
Yeah,
So Falcons are off the market.
For all we know, Kyle Pitts could be playing for the Bears, and
I don't think so. I don't like that. I'm totally against the 2 tight end set because here we are at the Bears.
Yeah,
they
but-
have Cole Kmet. They're not doing it.
I don't
Stop.
need Cole Kmet. I don't need Kyle Pitts to play tight end. Kyle Pitts can play fucking receiver.
No, he's not fast enough.
I can make him my slot guy and still have
No.
Cole Kmet as the tight end.
He's
'Cause he's a
not
good blocker.
fast enough. Like he's got some
Yeah,
good hands and he's
4.45.
and he's been injured since. He is not that guy anymore. Like if you're trying to put him out wide, you're messing up.
He was
All right,
6'6", 245 now.
You got the Bears. They're not going to take a tight end. Then you get to the Jets. Jets could, but they're in shambles on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So you're going to pass that up because you need to address offensive line.
And Rodgers historically has never been a tight end guy, so
Nope.
why would you draft a tight end?
Then you have the Vikings, who have T.J. Hawkinson. Then you have the Broncos. They have Greg Dulcich. He could be replaced. But they have problems on the offensive line and the defensive line.
And the starting quarterback.
And the quarterback. Like, they have issues everywhere. So taking a tight end is doing absolutely nothing. It's like the Falcons taking a tight end and not having a quarterback to throw to him.
I'm honestly
And then
surprised.
he's just...
I'm
wait.
surprised the Broncos haven't traded for Taysom Hill yet.
I mean, they might.
I mean,
Then you have the Raiders, who just drafted Michael Mayer.
yeah.
Then you have the Saints, who are paying $15 million to Taysom Hill this year.
Yeah, more than Christian McCaffrey makes.
Yes, and his cap hit is $16 million.
This is why.
So if they got rid of him, they'd still be paying more. So they have to keep him. So they're out, and then you get to the Colts. Colts could do it. They're a team that I've thought about before.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Seahawks.
And if you bring back Pittman Jr. to the Colts with the kid from last year that started playing really well as the season
Alec
went on.
Pierce,
Yeah, Alec Pierce.
Josh Downs.
Josh Downs, he looked pretty good. Man, whew, that'd be...
But see, if
Anthony Richardson
those
stayed
two
healthy.
didn't take him, yeah. Then he falls Jaguars. Jaguars just paid their tight end.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, they're not going anywhere.
Then you get to the Bengals. Now, Daniel Jeremiah in his mock draft 2.0 that he did yesterday, he had Bowers falling all the way down to Cincinnati.
Wow. Could you
And
imagine Joe Burrow with
and
Bowers?
he did that as an exercise also.
Yeah.
And that's what made me do it. I was like, let me see if I can do my own exercise and see if it'll happen. And they did the same exact thing, and I'm going,
wow.
you just start thinking about it. All these teams have these guys, so he's a generational type tight end, so you know he's not going to drop that far.
Yeah. Someone might.
But who's going to take him?
Dude, I'm just thinking about how good Burrow's been able to make guys look at the tight end position that were just like 1 year guys. Like he got what's his name paid with the
Uzomah?
Carolina Panthers. Uzomah got paid by the Jets because of him. Like, goodness, you put Brock Bauer in there, and while you still have Chase, you'd only have to give T. Higgins 1 year because then you could just replace him in the draft the next year for cheaper. Boy,
So
that'd
like,
be scary.
It's crazy to think that someone as generational as him, because of the position, like he is one of the hardest to pick. So I just leave him at the Chargers because I don't like it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe he would fall further than 10.
And you know he'll do great at the Underwear Olympics.
Yeah.
Like he'll be fantastic measurables.
And then of course, my 1.0, I had Roman Wilson in the first round, and a lot of that was Lance Zierlein. He's someone that I follow at NFL.com. He has a lot of great information. And the argument that he gave was a lot of teams are going to look at what ASB, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Yes.
look at what he did, where they drafted him in the second round, and go, if there are these guys that are similar to him, NFL teams will start taking them earlier. Now, there are negatives to this, like Kadarius Toney. Like,
I don't see any comparison to St. Brown and Tony, though. I saw Tony from day one as fast.
yeah,
Like,
and that's it.
But
he was a
burner.
If you watched Florida, he did a lot of like short yardage stuff to come back and get the ball, and then they let him be a playmaker. But once he got to the NFL, they were like, "No, you're not going to do that. Like, you're going to have to get open."
They gotta get
And then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, this guy's not that good."
Yeah, no.
But
He's fast. He can't get off.
Roman Wilson is a guy that's like that, and Lance Zierlein made a great argument for it, and I was like, man, that's actually like a legitimate reason. Plus, it's a team like the Chiefs need a receiver. Then I started doing research. Chiefs don't draft receivers in the first round.
They don't.
They've done it twice since 2000, and the last time they did, I remember it was
They're not quite the Packers, but they're not much better.
It was 2000, maybe 13. I remember, but that was the last time they had taken a receiver, and then they just take them in the second, third, or fourth. Now that you have Patrick Mahomes, like you don't need. He just proved that you don't need a stud.
Well, and he just proved that he could win with Rice as his number one option.
Yeah.
So why do you even? You just literally need to look at it and go, just give me a second Rasheed Rice. It doesn't have to be better than Rice. I can win. If you give me a guy better than Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I'm better than that.
Yep.
That's not hard to get better than.
So I don't believe, as much as they need a receiver, I don't believe that they'll take one in the first round, if they even draft in the first round, because they could trade out with a team that wants to trade up for Bo Nix.
Brian Robinson Jr. from LSU in the second round.
He ain't going in the second round, homie. He's going in the first.
I know, our LSU receivers are good.
Yeah. So, actually, he's another one
that's
that
going
I
to be
have
the scare
a
for
problem with.
Jaden Daniels is that LSU's got two receivers going one and a quarterback. Who made who?
Yeah. So the other problem that I have is Brian Thomas is in that last mock, I had him going to the Saints at 14 because they have Olave and Shaheed is a free agent. Michael Thomas is done.
Yeah.
Like, they need to just get rid of him.
Yeah.
So you replace Thomas with a new Thomas. But this go round, I was looking at Ryan Ramczyk. Ryan Ramczyk's knees are terrible. He is not good, and everything I read is Saints need to address replacing him now. So I was like, okay, like as much as I want to give them Thomas, okay, maybe the offensive line is a problem because Penning that they drafted last year, not last year before, Trevor Penning has been god awful. He had a decent rookie year, and then this past season he was god awful.
And their cap situation is just
and then $83 million. So
they're awful situation.
So I was like, all right, well, maybe. So this time I got a right tackle, and then Brian Thomas just kept falling because I was like, where do you put him? Like, they're not gonna. They need this. They don't need that. Like, he might be BPA, but maybe that's BPA. So and then I had him ended up falling to Tampa Bay at 26.
Because they were looking to replace.
So
Mike
from
Evans.
14 to 26.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way this draft is, and it's not because the receiver is bad. It's because there's a lot of talent with like tackles and cornerbacks, and then
White corner coming back. Woo!
He might actually be a safety. They're talking about him actually being like a nickel corner / safety.
He's got to be a corner.
So
right now, the only white
if
corner
he's
in
a
the
nickel
NFL
corner,
is the Dolphins.
then yes.
Backup. But did you that guy? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they asked Tyreek Hill in practice one day, like after practice, they were like, "Who's the one guy on the team? Is it Waddle? Is it like Mostert? Who's the one guy you think could really run with you?" And he named the 4-string corner. And the white guy for the Dolphins. And they were all like, well, shit, if he can learn to cover, apparently he's got the speed to be the white corner. Like,
and then the white corner you're talking about is Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean. It's a stretch. His last name is basically Hispanic. But.
Right? DeJean.
We're really reaching for straws here.
DeJean. I thought it was DeJean until I heard him say it was DeJean.
Well, I've been saying it wrong the whole time. So I thought it was DeJuan. Like, I'm from Texas. I see Juan, I say Juan. What do you want from me?
The only other one that I'd really talk about is also, actually, this is something I didn't realize today. I had him a lot. I had him lower than what I thought. But A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, Texas Longhorns receiver. Yeah. NFL loves that dude. They love him. He's going first round. He's Brian Thomas is 100% going before him, but he's your receiver 5 in his class. Like,
so many good
you got
receivers.
those 3: Brian Thomas, A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah, so we get to watch them all run 40-yard dashes and bench presses.
And by the way, A.D. Mitchell is 6'4", 192 pounds, and is likely to run somewhere in the 4.3s.
That's so much fun. I love watching people run fast. And that's what I was going to say. This is my transition. Here we go. Waiting on this one. I watched a video the other day of Larry Allen when he was a Pro Bowler for the Cowboys. Back when the Pro Bowl games used to be field goals and bench pressing. They would do underwear Olympic drills with current Pro Bowlers. And those dudes would go all out. And they would, I think Larry Allen threw up 46 reps and actually broke what would have been the combine record at the Pro Bowl. Yep. And everyone was just freaking out because he's just pumping them up like it's nothing. And so that brings me to that because we just got off of an NFL All-Star week, basically, where we really didn't see any kind of competitive nature.
Yeah. NBA.
Then the NBA came. No, we came off the NFL one not long ago. And then we had the NBA one a week and a half later. And honest to God, I watched pretty much all of All-Star Weekend stuff in some capacity. First thing first, the most competitive basketball was played by the rookies and sophomores games. And the G League kids. The G League team had guys like Mac McClung, who once again owned All-Star Weekend, and the fact that he can't even get a better minimum contract to come off the bench for a team. I'm asking 5 minutes a night. He's better than Giannis's brother, who gets to run around like a moron in the NBA. But
change his last name.
Yeah, but you sit there and he went for 12 points in the game. Their team ended up in the little. They did it. So what they did was a target score. They played to 40. They had 4 teams. These 3 teams were all composed of NBA people that had drafted rookies and sophomores on their teams. Guys like Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, like all the guys that are studs right now as first, second year guys. And then you had a guy who only was allowed to bring guys out of the G League. There were like 4 guys on the team that aren't even draft eligible until this coming draft. They all played for the G League Ignite team, which is that's another thing I'll bring up. Is so the G League Ignite team is owned by the NBA. It was built to give players a chance to make money off basketball because college couldn't pay. Well, that's about to go away because now college pays.
Yeah.
But so that's what this team's built up. Their first game is against Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, the number 2 pick in the draft, multiple other guys, Jaime Jaquez for the Heat, the white dude with the Dominguez from the 76ers, the Golden State Warriors, Potomitsky, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like, their team is loaded with young guys. The G Leaguers, from the minute the ball tipped, were like, we're going right at Wembanyama, we're making him our bitch, and literally went into his chest throwing in layups. And beat them by they were up by 14 at one point. And the guys that had Wemby had to come all the way back and still lost. Upset them in a race to 40. Then they just ran out of gas because of how the system lays out. They didn't get much of a break, so they lost the final to the team with Chet and Jalen Williams and all them. But, it started making a lot of buzz because it's supposed to be a down NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot of buzz for, this kid named Matthias Buzelis, who I think his dad played in the NBA at one point. Dude was out there just knocking down shots. He hit a turnaround game winner over guys. He was one of the guys that was like, I'm bouncing right into Wemby's chest, block my shot, and would get it over him somehow. I don't know. That was it. But then the second most impressive, most competitive thing that happened at All-Star Weekend, the celebrity game was gas. It was amazing.
Oh, I saw some of the highlights from it.
That Tristan Yaz kid, the YouTuber, he's a stud. And old girl running her mouth to him at halftime? Yeah. You heard that? Okay, so Kelsey Plum's on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Her all-time scoring record just got broke, right?
Yeah.
In order to be an all-time scorer, what do you have to take a lot of? Shots. You're not doing a lot of what? Passing. He walks up over to her on the sideline after the first half to shake her hand, genuinely to be excited to meet her. And she goes, pass the ball, bro. The motherfucker had 22 and 5 at halftime. He had 5 assists. And he looks at her and he's like, I got 5 assists, but aren't you an all-time leading scorer? That's what he said to her. And so then the game goes on. That kid's a stud, though. He was splitting defenders, up and unders. Micah was just bullying everyone.
Yeah. Those are the highlights that I saw.
But,
was Micah.
I'll say, in years past, you watched the celebrity games, you had guys like Kevin Hart, and you got to laugh out of it. You had ballers on the court. And they were getting, especially as the fourth quarter came and the game was close, Tristan Yaz, he wasn't playing no games. That kid was out there to show that I'm going to know how to ball and kick a ball. Puka Nacua was trying to throw every dunk through the center of the earth. He would just freaking yam them to the point where it was like Shaq rattling the rim. Like I said, Micah was just downhill the whole time. McCole Hardman had a few layups. They did a really good job bringing athletes in, and a lot of, Natasha Cloud from the WNBA, she was playing. You had some dudes that were just locked in. And it was actually way more fun to watch because it was almost like watching rec guys get a full court game, but they all were celebrities, seeing who they were. There were still your couple moments, when Jennifer Hudson came in the game, nothing happened. We all chuckled. She's not going to make an impact on a basketball game.
Hey, she took her nails off for that game.
Yeah. Well,
she was serious about it.
Oh, there was a former gold medalist Olympic high jumper that was just getting up there throwing them down. There were 19 balls dunked in the celebrity game.
Dang.
But I don't think there were that many dunked in the All-Star game.
Silver did a good job of getting the right people for that.
Yes, the celebrity All-Star game was a fantastic basketball game. The dunk contest, the judges that were there were so excited to see a big name that they were giving Jaylen Brown every score he wanted, and he sucked.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Mac McClung literally did a dunk that had never been done in dunk contests before and got a 48 on it. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown does a basic windmill that he went to cover his face, so it was a nose look. But he did after he laid on the fucking ground, and he got a 49.
Yeah.
And we're like, the dunk McClung did, old boy's holding the ball above his head. He jumps over him, grabs the ball, gets above the guy's head like he's about to take the ball up, lets the fucking ball go, then catches it again and throws the dunk down in midair. Never been done before. And they're like 48. Like, thank God he did an amazing dunk at the end, because I really think they were just trying to give the dunk contest to Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, get away from the white boy.
Well, no, I don't even care who it was. Jaylen Brown just sucked. Like, he wasn't even better than the other guys that weren't good in the dunk contest. Like,
all right. So a little bit of history on that. What he tried to do was the D Brown dunk.
Yeah, it was called the D Brown dunk
because he's number 7 for the Celtics, and so was D Brown.
Yeah.
So he was trying to pay a homage, but also trying to do it
and
better.
And that was all he did in all his dunks were homage attempts.
Was it?
One of the dunks, he did a basic windmill, but he wore a jersey of a kid that died recently. Like, he wore the kid's high school jersey. Everyone's like, oh, it sucked.
Like, oh, that's awesome, but
I didn't. The only thing that I didn't get to watch that I actually wanted to was I didn't get to see the Sabrina Abisacone. How do you say that? I can't say her last name. The one that had the shooting. What?
Ionescu?
Is that how you say it?
Against Steph?
Yeah. I don't know how you say that name. I told you, I called him Cooper DeJuan. How do you think I know how to say? But I'll say, like...
Say Giannis's last name.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I said Theonis, his brother's first name. Thanasis, whatever. So I will say though, on the topic of the lacking competitives of the All-Star game, like, because we are seeing it get to that point of where, like, the player, there was 3 fouls committed the entire All-Star game this year because no one ever even tried. I guess they did away with the target score thing that they did a couple of years in a row that people actually kind of watched. They went away with that this year.
What is that?
So
I haven't watched
2 years ago was
the NBA All-Star Weekend in a long time.
2 years ago was the first year that they did it, where they played 3 regular games or quarters of basketball. And then whatever the score was at the end of that time, whoever had the lead, they added 24 points to their score. It was an homage for Kobe. It was right after he passed. The first All-Star game after he passed away, they did this. It was 24 points. The other team, if they were down by 6, had to get 30 points or whatever it was. They had to cover the difference and get to that. But the first team to get to that target score wins the game. And so the first 3 quarters, everyone's kind of dicking off. You see some dunks, a little bit of thing. But then the fourth quarter comes, and everyone was like, well, shit, now we're playing under Kobe's name. Like, we can't be stupid here. And so everyone starts clamping up. And you saw, like, all the all-star starters were staying in the games that were, like, guys that were genuinely going to compete. Like, it was all the LeBrons, the James Hardens, like, all these guys stayed in the whole time. You could see them all really going, like, this was a real basketball game for them. And that was a fun one to watch. It ended up ending on a foul. It was a clear foul. You have to call it, but there was the free throws, and the free throw put him over the mark. Anthony Davis won the game off of it. And then last year, they didn't do it. I don't know if it was because, or they did it, but I don't remember how it played out because I think the West was like up by like 20, so it didn't matter. They kind of already won it. Okay. So I guess they just did it away with it this year. And so there was nothing to give them any reason to be competitive. People are pissed at Damian Lillard because Tyrese Halliburton was out there like putting up good numbers and could have got All-Star Game MVP in his hometown. And Damian Lillard just said fuck it and started firing up shots like crazy and hung like 50. And even Adam Silver, when he gave him the MVP award, was just like, All-Star Game MVP, Damian Lillard. Like, so defeated by the game and everything. Like, he's already made notes that he's going to figure out what he needs to do to make the game more competitive because it's not like they're playing football.
Well, I mean, even in football, it's not competitive.
No, but that's what I think, though, is that even when they were playing tackle football, I understood why guys would pull up in a tackle football game. But in a basketball game, you're actually at more risk when you're not going 100% at how you've been doing it your whole time than when you're going at a lesser speed because you're being lazy about things. You let your fundamentals break down. You don't factor in equations like that. And so these guys are to the point, though, where they're not doing anything. And the players, some of them, Joker was interviewed and said, y'all don't understand, I don't do all-star games to play. I do them because I don't live in America anyway, so I might as well come spend my time around the guys, see the fans, but I don't care about the game. And Luka cares even less than me. Like, he was on quote saying that. Anthony Edwards was like, we play hard all season. You're not going to get us to play hard in that. Like, none of them have a desire to play hard anymore in it. And so, I don't know if you can, but I don't want to hear it go get away with it because there's other parts of it that are fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few theories on things that they could do. I've heard videos talk about doing like 1-on-1 and 2-on-2.
One. That would be fun.
Making the winner get $1 million. You know, making it worth them trying to win.
Yeah.
And trying to play.
And where that money could come from is one of the things, is like I was saying about the NBA this year. Because of the NIL rules, Adam Silver was asked about the G League Ignite team. They're 2-19 this season. And the NBA floats all the money to pay for that league, for that team.
Okay.
No one organization owns them because it is funded by the league team so that these high school kids can come over and play in it. But they can't establish a fan base for it because these aren't guys that are here. Like, some of your G League teams have the same guys 2 or 3 years because they're within that one organization.
Yeah.
Ignite guys are there one season and then they're all drafted to new teams. And so they haven't been able to get anyone to come watch the games. And then, because they are at a little bit of a disadvantage because they're all 17 and 18-year-olds that are proving who they are, they're only 2-19. So no one's really going out and winning. Like, the most competitive thing that they've done is that they beat Wembanyama. And so they're struggling with that. And so Adam Silver was asked about the G League Ignite initiative, and he was like, to be honest, when we started it, it was allowed for these reasons. And now with the landscape of the NCAA, we think that it might be time for that to end. So it sounds like they're going to yank the plug on it, because I was looking at like this year's, we knew this year coming in was supposed to be a softer mock draft for the NBA. First thing, notable no name, no LeBron James Jr. on any draft at all at this draft. He's not in either round. Now there's whispers he might stay in college one more year.
He probably needs to.
He probably should. I think that his poor play is not entirely on him. I think he's not 100%.
Okay.
I mean, we got to remember the guy had a heart attack. And he's now working himself back. He took 6 months off of activity and now has ramped his way up to play Division I basketball.
Yeah.
How much of that is affecting him? You know, as the season gets on, you hear regularly that, oh, he's looking better today. He's looking better today. So how does that say that by next season he doesn't look fantastic?
Right.
Because he's developing that.
It makes sense.
And so, but the other part of it is that you look at it and it's 1, 2, there's only 2 guys in the top 6 that are currently playing collegiate basketball expected to get drafted now. There's 2 guys there's 2 guys overseas, or 3 guys overseas, and 1 guy on the G League Ignite. And then in the first round, there's like 5 guys from the G League Ignite expected to get drafted. Now there's a little skepticism on this mock draft, because last year Zach Edey was the National Player of the Year and went undrafted and decided to go back to college. And now they're got him projected to go 14. So I don't know how all of a sudden he was going to go in the lottery after not getting drafted last year when he's actually playing worse than he did last year, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know if he lost weight and he can all of a sudden run faster. But
wow.
So that is that. That said, though, second half of the season kicks off tomorrow. Tonight's the last day. Also, they have a long-ass All-Star break. They have what?
Yeah.
The game was when? Sunday?
I mean,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
That's why they take off, and that's why they don't play hard, because they're like, hey, this is kind of part of our, rest week.
But you know what? The All-Star break, being as long
and
as it is,
LeBron
makes...
ain't even playing it tonight.
No one's playing tonight. The games aren't until tomorrow night.
Okay, well, LeBron is inactive for tomorrow night's game.
Oh, is he? Okay. No, tomorrow night they have a full slate of games. Yeah, they play Golden State tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, I can look right here and tell that they're not playing.
Oh, yeah, full slate of games starts back tomorrow night. They're, obviously now we know for a fact that Embiid cannot win the MVP. He's well past the missed games threshold.
Yeah.
There are a couple of guys that are in that same boat. The current betting line favorite right now is actually SGA, followed by Joker, but most people don't think they'll give him 3 in a row. They think that at some point Joker's going to get the LeBron treatment where he might be the best player on the team, but we need to give the award to someone else. Because that was what kind of a lot of people said about LeBron's Cleveland years, is that they were just like, come on now, Steve Nash's numbers, there were some years where Steve Nash had no business winning MVPs, and he could have competed against LeBron and Kobe, who both got robbed. So
No, that year I think Kobe should have.
Kobe absolutely should have.
Yeah.
Kobe's numbers were fantastic that season. But so no, it'll be a fun race down the last stretch there. But there will be the basketball world. We're also kicking in baseball season.
See, oh, actually, hold on. I got one for basketball.
What'd you got basketball?
Jalen Brunson. Did you hear about
I
that?
did not hear about that.
Oh.
I love Jalen Brunson.
All right. This is the local thing. So this is due with the Dallas Mavericks. Apparently, before Jalen Brunson left to go to New York, at the beginning of his last season in Dallas, he offered to 4 years for $55 million, and Mark Cuban was like, "Hold on, let's give you 20, 28 games before and we'll come back to this." 28 games came, and he was like, "Hey, I'm still, on this, $4 to $55 million." We're like, "Oh, let's get a little bit more."
Steal.
Yeah, and then, so he was like, "Okay, I guess, they're not accepting this, so I guess I'm going to get traded like at before the trade deadline."
Yeah.
Well, the trade deadline passed, and Cuban came back, and he goes, "Hey, I think we're good for that $455 million." He goes, "No, I've passed that now. I think I deserve more." Yeah. And he was like, "And we're gonna shelf talks until after the season's over with." And then of course Luka got hurt, and he showed out. And so that 455, and then he was better than that 455, and then he was better than that.
Oh, absolutely.
And
he's been well better than that with the Knicks.
And at the end of that season, apparently Dallas just didn't even offer anything. They were like, "Yeah, he's gone." Like, we got no shot now. And he saw what New York was doing, trying to rebuild. And it was like, that's close to home. They're rebuilding, trying to build something good. Mm-hmm. I want to be a part of it.
And his dad's on the coaching staff.
Yeah. So that's why he went there. He gave the Mavericks 2 opportunities at a far lower price, and they didn't take it.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So that's the big news that I had.
I
saw the video
there
today,
were some
and I was like,
that
"Oh,
I know that he had talked
goodness."
pretty hard with them, but I'll tell you what would be amazing if the Knicks did this, because the thing that also is slightly special about that Knicks roster is, right? They have like 4 guys on that Knicks team that were all on the Villanova national championship team.
Do they really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, and then there's one other guy, I can't remember who else. They were all on the Villanova team together.
Okay.
If you're the Knicks and you just decide that something went south and oh boy, that's coaching isn't working out, man, I'm calling Jay Wright. Yo, Coach Wright, I know you retired from coaching, but you brought these boys a natty. Can you get them an NBA title? Oh yeah, no, they do. They have I can't remember who all it is, but there's one more guy that I'm gonna try to look, but I won't remember it off name right away. New York, heck, I can't even find the New York Knicks. How the New York Knicks had the first 2 nights back from the All-Star break off?
They're right here against Philadelphia.
Where? Oh, there they are, New York. I'm looking for the word Knicks.
Just look for the word Knickerbocker.
Let's see, Villanova, Dante DiVincenzo, Villanova, Josh Hart, Villanova. Okay, so maybe it was just 3 guys. Okay, yeah, just
that's
3
still,
guys.
that's still quite a bit.
Those are the 3 best players on your national championship winning team, though. So
yeah.
That was one of the fun things about how they're doing that, and they just added Bogdan Bogdanovic. So, heads up, boys, that team is going to be pretty solid. So, but that said, I can also touch on a couple other things. I know that the Dallas Stars are in first in their division.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, they're 4 points.
That is new news to me.
They're 2 points ahead of the Colorado Avalanche, and they're only 2 points out of first place. 3 points or 4 points out of first place in the Western Conference. So the Stars are really good.
Perfectly timed.
What's perfectly timed? Oh. I was like, what do we do? And so they're good. The New York Rangers are still good. The Panthers are good. The Bruins aren't as good as they were last year. Remember last year they were historically good in the regular season?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're second in the East this year. Just kind of seeing that's about all the hockey knowledge that I've really got. They've already had their All-Star game and trade deadline. So that all happened. This was all tonight was the opening day for the MLS season, so Messi was on the pitch tonight
I saw that
for Inter Miami.
I saw that.
I don't know who won the game, but I know that they played hot soccer tonight.
So
let's look and see.
Yeah, let's look. There's soccer. Messi touch sets up Taylor's run for Miami.
Messi touch
goal
sets up
in
goal.
39th minute.
Yeah, there it is. And they're in the 51st over Salt Lake right now. You see, there's this funny interview. They were talking about these to Miami in the preseason. They were talking to one of the guys in the team, and it was those YouTubers that have been going around, and they're like, "Hey, what's the most popular phone number in your contacts and all that stuff?"
Oh yeah.
So someone goes, "Who's the most popular phone number in your contacts?" And he names a guy on the Inter Miami team, not named Lionel Messi, and they're all like, does he forget he plays with one of the best players in the history of the sport, or does he just not have his number? And so that was some pretty fun ones. We've also got some. You're getting closer and closer to the World Cup stuff. We now know for sure that the final will be in New York. It's not going to be in Dallas. There was originally it was like Dallas was locked to be the home base for the finals of the World Cup.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Apparently that was all leaks that we thought was the case, and it's actually going to be in New York. So they're going to play the final at MetLife.
Okay.
But Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington is hosting 9 World Cup matches, more than any city in the entire World Cup. Canada's only hosting 7 as a country. Mexico's only hosting 8, and the U.S. at Dallas alone we have 9.
Okay.
Which that runs all the way through the semifinals. So there will be, for the local soccer fans, you're going to have tons of big soccer in the area.
Okay.
I'm just going to I've got 9 chances to get tickets to one game. It's like, I also resided the fact that I didn't want to go all out on opening day tickets because I want to figure out how I can get into the home run derby. So.
Okay.
It's only coming. It might never come again in my life. Like,
yeah.
I gotta get a chance at it. So there's that. And then the Daytona 500, William Byron gets the win. Apparently he led 1 lap, and it was after there was a wreck at the 8th lap and then a wreck at the 4th lap, and he was involved in both wrecks but stayed out in front to win it.
I'm not gonna lie. When it came across my feed, I was like, "Is this golf?"
No,
Byron Nelson?
No.
I was like, William Byron?
No,
Who's that?
He's the guy that took 24 whenever Jeff Gordon retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
I've never heard his name.
Yeah, he got first. Yeah, he's been in NASCAR for.
Is it still the DuPont or is it something else?
7 or 8 years now. Let's see. No, it is Axelita is the main sponsor. It looks like. He's in front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm trying to see who else was it. But yeah, he literally a couple of laps wrecks at the end, and then the 88 car was the other Hendrick Motorsports car got second place. His teammate, I think it was Michael McDowell or something like that. So teammates go 1 and 2. I don't know who the person is wandering up to my house outside there. That's whatever. It's probably food orders for the people inside.
Oh,
even
there's
though
a little kid.
Little kid.
Yeah.
Little kid just stayed. Oh, it's my kid. He just got home from church. I was like, who's wandering into my house? Oh, it's 8:30. My kid just got home from church. That makes sense. I was thinking it was a food order. I was like, I made them lasagna before we did the show tonight.
I thought he looked like your son.
I couldn't see him. The car's at a weird angle.
He did
Speaking
a
of
quick
cars,
wave.
you want to hear the weird thing I got told the other day?
What?
My tax guy told me that because of my darn pay raise, which I'm not going to get upset with it, I moved up tax brackets. And now we're not paying enough taxes. And I have to either pay the government in advance $4,000 to get from having to be negative next year, or buy a car. Guess who's getting a truck? This guy.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So sometime this year I'll be showing off me a fancy new toy. I have to take on another car payment. That means.
Hey, I mean,
but
it's a new vehicle.
He was like, you need something that you can write off $4,000 on. I said. He goes, that's a good car down payment. I said, guess I'm buying a car.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's a good tax guy.
We were talking cars. We were on NASCAR. I figured.
Okay.
Works
Yeah, it's a good
out well
segue. It's a good segue. This is not a good segue, but
that's okay.
So, Madam Web has not been doing very good.
I've heard it was absolutely terrible.
Yes.
I heard one person's exact definition of it, and I don't even know if I can describe this the right way because the way they described it to me confused me. But they said that it was basically like They tried to make the second part of a series without ever making the first movie.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow. That's stupid.
It was like they made Spider-Man 2, but never made Spider-Man.
So they basically just wanted you to go, you already have spider people, so more.
That's literally how it was described to me, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with that. Like,
Yeah, I was looking to see who the writers were because they don't have a good track record. Everything that they have written has
I know
been
they were
awful.
Sony.
Yeah, it was so they did Morbius.
Which I never
They
watched
did the Untold Dracula.
that. I don't know what the heck that is. So.
Okay, it was a terrible movie.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Or Dracula Untold story, something like that. I don't remember. It wasn't good. But they have had bombs.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing good about what they've written.
Oh, that's right.
So their track record going into this was already going, ooh, okay. And then you find out, like, you're trying to watch this and you're going, you don't want to be the anti-woke person and be like, oh, you only hate that because you're not woke.
Kind of like we hate Ghostbusters with girls because it sucks, not because it was girls.
So, and that's what this was, it was, full of women. So a lot of people were like, oh, you only hated it because of that. And then more people started coming out. They were like, no, this was awful. Like it was hot garbage. And then they go, and then the writers are these people who made these movies that's put nothing but hot garbage out. So you're not giving these actresses any good material in the first place. And then if you've watched, I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews, because I watched a little clip of the interviews that Dakota Johnson did.
That's the chick that was in 50 Shades, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, she did not promote this movie very well.
I didn't know it was out.
She, like, even when they asked her about it, she was just kind of nonchalant about it. Like, there was nothing good coming from this. There was no reason for it, but they just wanted to.
Sounds like Sony trying to keep their Spider-Man push.
Yeah.
I have been doing another Marvel run, though, because there's a show following coming. I started on the original 1994 X-Men.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I finished all of season 1. Well, is
that on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to watch it then.
Well, they got X-Men 97 coming out, and that is an exact pickup and carry-on from that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't remember. I've watched it as a child in spots.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever watched every episode. And I'll tell you this, you want to talk about things that ramp up quickly, because like it starts out with Sentinels, and you got Apocalypse in season 1. Like, it happens quick, and I was like, I thought they were in the wrong order. I had to Google to make sure that Disney Plus hadn't messed it up. But I mean, it's been it's really good. Like, it's good. But I did it, like I said, it's largely to get into getting to X-Men 97 because we know that we're getting that Marvel expansion into the X-Men world and all that fun stuff coming. So
yeah, they did desexualize the characters. I don't know if you noticed that.
What does that mean?
If you watch it, you'll notice that back in that
Rogue has a
90s,
fat butt.
Yeah,
she still has a fat ass in that movie.
Not in
the TV show.
Not in the new one.
Oh, not the new one.
No, that's what I'm saying. They desexualized it to make it just a little bit more like kid friendly.
How terrible! Because
Rogue
had a fat movie for a cartoon character.
So they desexualized it a little bit just so that it's a little bit more appropriate. And I'm not against it. Like, I get it. You're not trying to make everything sexual. So I get kind of taming it a little bit.
I mean, they've got anime if they want to see overly drawn boobies.
Exactly.
Well, that's what
that was the only thing that I've heard a few people like comment about, and I was like,
I mean, I've only seen like clip arts. I'd have never even noticed it if you didn't say it.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh, the artwork looks different. Yeah. Like, it wouldn't have been.
And so that's basically the only thing that I had on any negative feedback I've heard on that, because that trailer, oh man, that trailer was like,
dude, there's all kinds of stuff coming, and then
what? Like, oh my god, the adamantium claws with Gambit. I was like, oh my god, that was cool.
Yeah, all of it looks exciting. It's probably gonna be one of those things where I'll watch all of it, and then I will force myself to watch the movie series of them because there's a lot of them. Well, honestly, it got so confusing at some point, the Fox movie series with them that I stopped watching because I didn't know where we were at anymore. Yeah, you don't have to anymore, but like some of them were good. Like the original X-Men movie, I liked it. It was pretty good.
X-Men 2.
The original Days of Futures Past was good. I liked the first one. And I like the second one, but the time problem they have is huge because you went from old they did their original, the guys they did X and them. It was like a 10 years of
Magneto.
Yeah, it was only like 10 years of time that had passed, and the guy looked like he was 80 all of a sudden. I was like, bro, like.
So and that was like Days of Future Past was trying to fix issues that they did with X-Men 3 because they finished X-Men 3 to end everything. Like we made X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Like, because that was what it was, is you made trilogies. Then Marvel decided we're going to do this big story that just keeps continuing. And then Sony or Fox was like, oh, but we ended X-Men. Like, we ended our story. And they're like, I got it. So that's what all that came to, was they were like, this is our way to continue the story that we kind of messed up on by just completing after a trilogy, because Marvel showed us we could do more than a trilogy. So that's where all that came into play, because they originally set for X-Men just to be nothing but a trilogy, and that was it.
Yeah.
So once Marvel showed that you could do more than that, they wanted to reverse course, and because that's why they did X-Men, Wolverine Origins and stuff like that, just one-offs. That's why they were doing those, because they ended that storyline. They were like, well, we can just do these now.
Well, and the reason that it's kind of like why Sony had to do Madam Web. Like, there's an obligation why they have to make certain movies.
Yeah, so
like
it doesn't revert to Disney.
Yeah, they're rolling out these crap movies so that because they have to make a movie. But apparently, there's still a conflict between. You heard that now? There's a new conflict between them and Sony. Between Disney and Sony, and Sony's threatening to withdraw the rights again from Spider-Man for Tom Holland. Because apparently Sony wants to have the ability to make their own movies using the 3 Spider-Men, because it was such a hit in the last Spider-Man movie. And Marvel's like, we get what you're saying, but that's not the direction that our timeline's taking us. And so we did it. It was cool. Everyone loved it one time, but we don't make a whole nother movie out of that. This is where we need to go now. He's not even in New York anymore. Like, he's now got to go work and develop his new life and this other stuff. And then Sony's literally to the point where they're threatening to hold out the rights because of it. And they're just like, why don't you just let us keep making you money? It's going to be okay.
Yeah. That's...
And so...
And speaking of X-Men and everything, Henry Cavill has been cast in a secret role for Marvel.
Captain Britain.
The only problem is Captain Britain has already been shown.
In a multiverse, it's okay.
But you already have one. Now, I mean, you can have multiple, because clearly we're getting Fantastic Four. Like, we're getting a new Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And John Krasinski was Mr. Fantastic. Now it's going to be Pedro Pascal. So, obviously you can do it. But wouldn't it just be better if you had him play, I don't know.
I heard Dr. Doom as well.
Dr. Doom.
I would love that one, but they also, I hear, what's his name, gets a lot of love for him to do from Peaky Blinders. He's getting a lot of love for being that role also.
Yeah.
And he has an eviler looking face.
He does.
He looks the part.
I
can't remember his name.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy. He has that look that's like, I could play
the only reason why I would want him to do something like that, like Henry Cavill, is just because he's already been Superman. So I don't want to give him another role in a superhero movie that's not the same thing, but kind of the same thing.
If they were smart, he'd still be Superman. But that's
if they were smart, yeah. But that's where I'm at. Is I don't want him to be that, just because he's already been kind of a version of that for DC. So it would be weird for him to be in the same role.
In the Marvel
Because so basically pigeonholed into, you were this, so, I know you're British, so, it works, but I would rather him be something else.
Still one of the best stories ever when he, his nephew, you ever heard that story about his nephew?
I guess not.
So his nephew's at school, and they were doing a day where they were asking about family members and stuff like that, and he goes, my uncle is Superman. Now, he doesn't have the same last name as his nephew. And the teacher's like, oh, okay, and thinks it's funny. He goes, no, you don't understand. My uncle really is Superman. And he's talking about how his uncle can fly and how his uncle can do all this. And the kids are all getting riled up, and she just shuts it down. The next day, the kid shows up to school with his uncle, Henry Cavill. Walks into school, and they look up, and he goes, class, this is my uncle Superman. And the teacher literally, it's like this light bulb goes off, where she's like, oh shit! His uncle really is Superman.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a whole little
and I also just love how nerdy he is. Like, he's one of us.
Oh yeah, he really is. That's why he left The Witcher. Because they didn't want to stay true to the book. He's like, no, I refuse.
Yeah,
I never even watched it. I know
you
that.
have to stay true to this. Quit trying to make it your own and messing it up. Like, the content is there. Quit trying to go away from it. That's why a lot of these movies fail, is these writers want to put their own piece on it so bad that they are willing to just go, hey, I know this is here, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. I want to try to do something else. Like, use this, but put your own spin on it. Just use this. Like, change it up some. Like, don't go, yeah, but we don't want to do that. Like, I know you're The Witcher, and we've done really well with how we've stuck to the script and stuck to the books, but now we don't want to.
Can you imagine if he was Jon Snow? That he would have quit being Jon Snow to not let them write the ending that they did for Game of or whatever.
Well, to be fair,
Game of Thrones.
Like,
yeah, but he's got the balls to just quit. Like, we literally saw that he's willing to just say
there's no
now.
book for it though.
For Witcher?
For Game of Thrones.
Oh, true. There's no book, so
he can't be upset when there's nothing there.
He would have just been like, we'll take a break, we'll come back.
Yeah, it's like, let's take an extended break. I know that he's still not finished with that book, but, in about 5 years, let's come back to this.
And then we'll finish it and everyone has to. That said, though, on a DC drop here, DC character from the CW, Stephen Amell, getting a new casting.
Stephen Amell, yeah.
He's going to be the lead in Suits LA, so as if I didn't have enough reasons to watch it, I'm fully bought in now because I love him.
I'm going to be honest, I was actually a little shocked because, with it being a spinoff, and it being in LA, I kind of figured that they would have gone a different route, a little more wokish. With maybe.
I'm scared about the role, but I hope he's great because I love him.
I thought it was going to be it was going to be someone else. He
doesn't put off any kind of Harvey Specter vibe. He doesn't even put off the vibe that you got from the other kid. I just want to blank on his name, but what's his freaking name? The smart one.
Yeah.
You forgot too, man. Yeah. So he doesn't put off the vibe of either one of them. So because he does bring a genuine I'm a superhero vibe. Even before he played the Green Arrow, just looking at that guy, he looks like someone that should play a superhero in his lifetime. So I don't know. Mike Ross, that's it.
Dude,
yes.
I was sitting here going,
I was like, I can't remember his name.
Because it's me.
It's your name.
Yeah, because I knew it, but I couldn't remember the last name, so I didn't want to say it.
Oh, no, that's great. No, that one was one that I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to hope it's amazing because I love the guy. It does bring in the fact that we know that at the end of Suits, Harvey moves to Seattle, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we'll, obviously, well, I'm not going to say we won't.
It's already out there that they're going to have at least a cameo.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I don't know that we won't see all of them. I think we'll see Ross at some point. I think we'll see Harvey at some point. I bet we even see Donna. But you know what?
We won't see Lewis.
Yeah, we won't see Lewis because he's still over here. I would say the only one that I think that is a wild card that you might see would be Meghan Markle because she is acting again.
Mm-hmm.
She got out of it because she wasn't.
I told you about that.
So if she snuck into it, that would be pretty cool, especially if she showed up with Mike. I just hope they don't show up like, oh, look, we're friends. Like, in all honesty, I hope they show up for a case against each other, and it's like, oh shit, now I have to root against them. Like, I don't want them to come in and be like, oh, we had this long-standing friendship that y'all don't know about. Like,
That would be kind of cool.
you know,
I would be down for that.
if they just came in and it was like Stephen Amell's character's ready to rock
Nope,
and roll,
it's-
and boom, here kicks in
I
Harvey
mean,
Specter.
it was kind of like the Harvey versus Mike there.
Yeah,
that-
but you knew kind of going into that they were gonna. That was like the playful rivalry of it. If Harvey just kicked the door in and walked in, it was like, I'm here to defend my client. It would just be like, oh shit! Like, it would be awesome. So
you can't. You'd have to save it for the final episode of season 1.
oh yeah, season
You
finale it,
have-
and then do start the court proceeding. The next one, just have Harvey walk in, and then the
Yeah.
next season starts. Be the great
You're
one.
like,
Or he's just
kind of wait now.
Or they're like, okay, look, there's a deposition in the conference room. Like, they're just sitting there, and it's the end of the season. You're like, it doesn't seem like enough time in the episode for a deposition. Then you see Emil open the door, and there's Harvey Specter looking across the table, and then it's like, end scene. Fuck!
That's the perfect way to end season 1 right there. Perfect.
Especially because how ruthless Harvey is in a deposition. Like, to have him be in that setting and then cut it and go see you in a year.
Yep.
Oh, I'd love it. God, dude, I would Jones over another. He'd be like a crackhead with crack trying to get to that
That
next
is.
season.
I think we've already kind of solved season 1's.
Yeah, if you haven't figured it out yet,
finale.
writers, we got y'all.
Because if I'm being honest, I don't want to see them earlier than that.
No, I
Like,
don't. I want
You want to see them, but at the same time, you don't want to see them because you want this new cast to kind of.
to develop their
Yeah,
character.
develop.
I don't want to see them within the first 5 episodes because I need 5 episodes to fall in love with the characters and get their
Yeah.
get
I
them
agree with that.
established in their
Yeah.
role. Because you can usually watch 5 episodes of a show
And I would
go,
assume-
I'll finish this or not.
I would assume that season 1, with it being a spinoff, they probably only do like 13 episodes, 10 to 13 episodes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it's not like you have to wait 25 episodes.
They're going to want to make sure it's going to be something that
and
ends up being a hit,
I-
and then season 2 end up being like 18.
Yeah. And I was gonna say though, I think we're kind of at the end of the era of the 25 episode season.
That is true.
I think about the longest you see a TV show run now is 17 to 18 episodes, and even that's really pushing it because like shows that are doing fantastic, like that All American show is killing it on the CW. Everyone's on it. As soon as it comes on, they talk about it. They're only running like 12 episodes a season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's. Or they'll do like 12 episodes and then they'll cliffhang for like 6 months and then they'll do the second half. And so, yeah, it might be a 24 episode season, but it lasted a year and a half to get through that point. And you're kind of like, is it really even the same season? Like, the actor grew new facial hair overnight. Like, so, I do love that one too. That one's coming on here in a couple of days. And then the first episode of Tournament of Champions was this last Sunday. Yo, y'all acting like I'm a crazy person now. TOC is the best cooking competition in the world.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know
Tournament of
what you're talking
Champions.
about, bro.
This week was the first. We had our first 4 cooks this week on last Sunday night. I got to remember, I know we watched Jet Tila win. He is the guy, Jet Tila's on the board of finding for Payway.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
one of the founding chef people of that. The only reason this matters to me is because we talked about the fact that I only knew one of the celebrities in the celebrity basketball game because he was a James Beard award-winning chef. So, just so we're clear, it's every Sunday night, and I'm telling you, you can learn so much about cooking by watching cooking shows.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the kind like Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
I'm talking about watching cooking competition because they take the time to execute it while they're talking about it, and then they have these guys like on TOC. They have these 2 dudes that they call food experts. One of his name is Simon Majumdar, and the other one's Justin Warner, and they're like food nerds. And so when when someone's doing something, they do kind of like you'll catch us do sometimes, where we'll stop and go, "We just said something at a higher level. Let's take a second to explain in case someone that's watching our show doesn't understand it."
Okay.
So they'll sit there and they'll be like, "Oh, so they have to use the microwave steamer." Most people don't know what that is. Let me tell you real quick. And he'll tell you briefly what it is, what it does.
Okay.
All that stuff.
Okay.
So you can learn from it and then watch these guys. And the things that they have to cook and how quick they do it, they get a wheel. I told you the wheel?
Mm-hmm.
They spin it, and then they're like, go. 30 minutes, have fun. Like, you don't even have time to prep and plan. I couldn't do that shit. I'd be panicking.
You would have to be able to have something, like you've been kind of studying on what's on the board, so you have an idea of what you would be.
They're given an introduction to the kitchen, so where the produce is, where the seasonings, all that stuff is, and then they do this matchups on who's going to face who at the very first episode, so you know who you're going to face round one from that point forward after the first episode.
Oh, okay.
Like they literally do an NCAA tournament bracket. It's one cook elimination. If you get the highest score on any given night, they donate $25,000 to a restaurant of your choice. So they're playing for something every night to do good. And then if you win the whole damn show, they get $125,000, which for a competition for professionals, it doesn't seem like a lot, but we're talking chefs. We're not talking professional football players. That's coin. Like, that's good money. And so that's, for a lot of them, that's opening a new restaurant. That's what he's pretty close. But it's, for a lot of them, it's opening their next establishment. Like, that's how they're growing their franchising and stuff like that. And so it's a ton of fun. There's been 4 different winners of the show, and this is the 5th season. And so, like, the 4 different winners were all 1 seeds. And there's so many people related to the Food Network that wanted to get into this that they had to have preliminary competitions for chefs from, like, shows like Top Chef, that Next Level Chef that's on Fox now that Gordon Ramsay does. Mm-hmm. One of the people that won that show was competing on this season's show to try to win the show. And so you get to start seeing people, like, multiple people, because of the first couple of years of this show, have gotten Food Network show spots because of building an audience from people watching this.
Makes sense.
So the guy that cooks for the Olympic team, I just went blank now, but he's in it, and he's like, they call him the super kid. He's like 6'4", 240. He looks like he should be an Olympian.
Huh.
Like, and he cooks for the Olympians.
By the way, Brock Purdy makes $900,000 a year.
Oh, yeah, see? He's doing okay for himself. I mean, not compared to other NFL quarterbacks. Not for
a starting NFL quarterback for a team that just went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say there's others in the league, I would say, that probably can take more, but making sure I'm... Yep, so that runs out what I've got, though. I just, as you see, I even got to tangent on some food there.
Yeah.
I'll continue that, because it happens every week. Except for the week that I have to miss it and then come home and watch it because I'll be on a cruise ship.
The only other thing that I have is that David Tennant is rumored to be coming back as the Purple Man, Jessica Jones.
I did see that. The wife and I started those. I got her to start them.
Did you?
We're almost done with season 1 of Daredevil, and I asked her. I said, "Now I need to ask you because we're about 1 or 2 episodes left. Are you wanting to go through the Defenders or through Daredevil? Because it's different." She's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Because at some point in Daredevil, in the next couple episodes, you're going to meet Jessica Jones. And then we have to go watch season 1 of her show before we can watch season 2 of Daredevil, because though it's minimal, there are crossovers that build up to the Defenders."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Okay." Because she saw Iron Fist with me years ago when I watched it.
Okay.
And she saw clips of Luke Cage. She said, "Okay, I've seen clips of those. I didn't mind either one of them when I watched those with you, so I'll do the Defenders route." So we are going the Defenders route.
Okay.
Like tonight, we'll go in, we'll do our evening sesh, and then we'll go in and watch at least 1 episode of Daredevil. Because I told you, she's not a serious person usually when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
But because she watched Game of Thrones and she liked it, I was like, I feel like there's enough here that she'll... Man, if she didn't watch 2 episodes... We watched the first one, and she looked at me and goes, "Is that it?" And I was like, "Oh, you want to watch another?" Let me give it 1 more. That second one ended. Why do you look like you're trying to go to sleep? I'm trying to watch another one. It's only 9 o'clock. Woman, it's 9 o'clock, and I get up at 5 in the morning. She is locked in. That, and we discovered... I didn't give this show enough of a chance because one of the lead actresses' voices annoys the shit out of me. Sofia Vergara.
I love Sofia Vergara.
I'm falling in love with her fastly. Not slowly.
Are you talking about Griselda?
I'm talking about, is that Modern Family, that her name in Modern Family?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Because my wife just started watching that. It's her show to watch.
No. Griselda is it's on Netflix.
Oh, no. I'm talking about...
But Modern Family. Modern Family is amazing.
I've watched clips of Modern Family, but I couldn't do it because... her voice annoyed me. But she's decided that she's going to watch it. We have completely abandoned 2.5 Men because it kind of became repetitive and fell off.
Mm-hmm.
And this shit is freaking hilarious. And then to find out some of the things about some of the characters, like we always talk about how great Neil Patrick Harris is at playing a straight man, because we know he's a homosexual.
Yeah.
But the big husky guy is straight as a board, and he plays the most over the top. Yeah, there's mud. I mean, he is freaking hilarious. So, and the fact that the dude from the dad is so much milder than he was in the first show that I remember him from a kid. Is it All My Family or whatever it is? Or no, that's
All My Family.
You know what show I'm talking about, where he's is it Wife and Kids? What is it called? Married with Children.
There you go.
There it is. I knew I'd get there. Like, you remember how heinous and harsh he was in that show, and then in this one, he's still absolutely hilarious.
Even in
not
Little
even
Giants, he was that way.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was even in that. God, it's been so long since I watched Little Giants.
Come on, man.
Dude, it's not like it's one
I'm
of
a
those.
movie buff. Like, I know this.
I gotta go back. I want to remember.
It's like,
the
I don't know
names.
if you heard me say his name already.
No, I didn't.
It's Ed O'Neill.
Is that his name? Okay, yeah. No, I didn't remember. No, but he's like the little bit of it we've watched. Like, there's a couple of parts of it that I'm still kind of like, that one character is like, But all in all, like every time she's got it on, I'm just like, and we let the kids watch it some.
But the older sister, in that.
Yes.
So
the family with 3 kids.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right, that poor girl. Like, if you listen to her actual life story, she has gone through so much.
Oh, really?
Like, surgeries galore. Like, I forgot what's going on with her, but she has went through a lot of stuff.
Huh? I have to look more
Like,
into that.
it's
I love their
it's
mom.
crazy.
Their
Yes.
mom is hilarious.
Yeah.
Phil is up or down. Like, there's moments where I'm like, you're kind of annoying, and there's moments where it's really funny.
Yeah.
We just did the scene where he's talking to Kobe Bryant. Like, it was in season 1, and they're at the Laker game. Yeah, he has Kobe on the show in the first season, and Kobe's like, "What's up?" And he's like coming down the tunnel, and the guy freezes, and he's like, "Do you like being a basketball player?" And Kobe's like, "That's what you got for me." Like, be mentally prepared, bro.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember that. It's been a while since I watched it.
It's hilarious. They spend the whole they're at the Laker game the whole first half of the episode, and then like there's a part where he's on the Jumbotron, but it's showing it on the main TV, and the wife is like grabbing her phone real quick, and she's like, "Say what should I say?" And the daughter's like, "Tell him I'm pregnant." So they don't panic on TV. So she calls him. You see him grab his phone, look, and he ignores the call, and she gets so pissed. Well, then the funny part is that later in the game is when the kiss cam comes up, and him and his technical mother-in-law were at the game together with the 2 kids, and they keep going, and he's like this, and she's like, "It's not a big deal," and just Not 5 seconds later, his son or his daughter looks at him and goes, "Mom's watching the game and she's pissed." He's thinking it's because she kissed him. Oh, it was hilarious. Oh, yeah.
It's a great show.
It
Another
was
one
hilarious.
that I think a lot of people missed out on is Fresh Off the Boat.
I don't know that.
So it's an Asian family that moved to Miami.
All right.
And it's got it's the Asian Jim.
Asian Jim. Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's the dad in this.
He's talking about the guy that plays the FBI agent in WandaVision.
Yes, in WandaVision.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
I forget his actual name. He was in the interview.
In The Office.
In the office for
one episode.
The beginning of an episode, whatever that's called.
Yeah, the prelude or whatever.
Yeah. But so that's a show it's basically about them growing up in Miami. Chinese guy owning a Western a restaurant, and they're trying to live in this. And then the reason why I bring it up is because Shaq is in it.
Oh,
so when you talked about Kobe, I was like, "Oh, what was that TV show with Shaq in it?" And I was like, "Oh, Fresh Off the Boat." So the younger kid, he's an Asian kid, and he's trying to live in Miami, trying to act black and everything, and trying to be cool. And then his youngest brother is like super, 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 super smart. So it's nice. Like just like the whole show was great. I think it only lasted like 4 seasons, but it's a party show.
It's like Kim Convenience. That one makes me laugh too.
And then the mom is in the Rich Asians. It's not, I think it's the name of it. I
Stupid,
think that's-
Crazy Rich Asians or something.
Yeah, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the mom of that show is in that. Like it's a great show.
Okay.
Like I loved watching it. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it.
Well, all right. Well, then I
yeah.
guess we'll wrap it up. Next week we'll get to talk more combine and all that fun stuff there. The NBA season will have kicked up, and we'll have had our first spring training games. Woo woo! So, catch y'all next time. Peace.